Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Pigskin Addicts here, back again with another video. So we got a big Monday night game coming up. It's the Denver Broncos. This is going to be a very, very, very big game for the Chargers. This will potentially put the Chargers at 4-2, right, if they're able to pull this victory out. But this is also going to put them on pace right in the AFC West, right after 6 weeks. Even though the Chargers have not played their best football on either side of the ball, really, there's still some injuries lingering around. There's been a lot of adversity, but if the Chargers can pull this one out, I think they are in a very, very good position. And ultimately the cream rises to the top, right? And this roster is full of talent. Obviously, there have been some issues on the coaching side, but despite all of that stuff, they will still be in place, right, for that AFC West crown right after 6 weeks. And I think it's a good position to be in if the Chargers are able to pull this out. The Chiefs have a huge game at home against the Bills. That is on Sunday afternoon/evening. So that is going to be a huge game for them. I personally think the Bills are going to go in there and they're going to be able to beat the Chiefs just because they have more talent on both sides of the ball. And quarterback play, is pretty even in that game. So I'm taking the Bills. If the Bills do win, then the Chiefs will go to 4-2, right? That's where the Chargers will be at if they're able to pull off this victory on Monday night. So let's get into the defensive game plan. What they need to do to slow down this Broncos team. Now, this Broncos team is not who everybody thought that they were, right? I am not surprised by it. I called this out very, very early, in the offseason. As soon as the Russell Wilson thing happened, a lot of people were really, really excited about it. But I just didn't see it, right? I didn't see it. I didn't see it with Russell in his past couple of seasons in Seattle. So I didn't think that he can just switch teams, switch conferences, and dominate. And that he hasn't been able to do that. So I am not surprised by it. There are a lot of people that are, but I am not. Now, this game, even though the Broncos have not been good, they still possess a threat, right? This is a team that is desperate now, right? Even though they're 2-3, right? They're not dead in the water, but they have no spark. Offensively, they have not been good. This defense that the Broncos have has been keeping them afloat, right? This is the team that, has really underachieved, and the defense did its best to try to erase as many blemishes as they can, right? Now, obviously, a defense can erase all blemishes, but if you have a good defense, if your defensive coordinator knows, how to call a game, your defense can really mask a lot of issues. And the Broncos obviously have a lot of issues, but, offensively, they are going to have to come around. And I don't want this to be the game that they show up and come around. They shouldn't get right against us. And I think that is a huge mental thing that any of the Charger players should have on Monday night. This team is, they're a disaster. They were awful the last game they played. They're not going to come into our building and get right against us. They're going to continue to struggle because we're going to make them struggle. So obviously, I think that's what the mindset should be. Now, the Chargers, they have to generate pressure. Now, the Joey Bosa injury was huge. That was a very, very big setback for this Charger team, and obviously for the defense. The Chargers have not been able to generate pressure the past 2 games, right, against the Texans, against the Browns. They just have not been able to generate a pass rush. They're able to now double team Khalil Mack and Chris Rumph on the side, Kyle Van Noy, number 59, the guy that we signed. I can't remember what his name is, but those guys on the other end are single cover guys, right? They don't have to be doubled. You can really focus in game plan with Khalil Mack as far as the other team's offensive lines go. So the Chargers, I think they need to generate some pressure here. I think they need to do a little bit more blitzing. That's one thing that the Chargers haven't done a lot of this season, is blitzing. And I don't even know if they came into the season thinking that they have to blitz a lot. If you have Mack on one side and Bosa on the other side, you obviously are going to be able to pressure the quarterback with just 4, right? So the one thing that the Chargers need to do is bring more pressure, and they're going to have to generate pressure, and they're going to have to bring it with linebackers, with safeties, Derwin James. They're going to have to manufacture pressure because the defensive line is just not as good, right? They're not as good. They're not going to be able to get home. Joey Bosa was that guy, that difference maker, but obviously he's out. He's going to be out for at least 7 to 8 more weeks, whatever his prognosis was, right? He's going to be out for a while, so he's not coming back anytime soon. So they're going to have to generate pressure, and I think this is going to be a big thing. You do not want Russell Wilson to get comfortable. Now, obviously, he hasn't been comfortable in the pocket all season long, even when he's not getting pressure. He's just not comfortable there. He's a shorter quarterback. He already has trouble seeing over the line, and he just hasn't been comfortable. They came out after the game on last Thursday and talked about he had some type of shoulder injury, right arm, lat, something. I don't know. I've heard a lot of different things, but his throwing arm, the region around it is I guess hurting him. So he's not himself, right? He's not 100%, and it looks like it. So with that being said, the Chargers have to make sure that they keep Russell Wilson not at 100%. They have to make sure that he is uncomfortable. They have to make sure that he cannot get back in the pocket, sit back there, scan the field, and throw to open receivers. They're going to have to generate pressure, and I think you're going to have to bring it from different places, right? Maybe middle linebackers one play, maybe you're bringing Derwin James the next play, maybe you are bringing it from the secondary, Bryce Callahan on the nickelback position. You're going to have to bring pressure from different places, right? Because you're not going to be able to get home with just 4. We've seen it the past 2 games and it hasn't worked. So they're going to have to generate pressure to continue to keep Russell Wilson off balance. That's the one thing that I want to see from the Chargers. DBs, when pressure is not able to get home, the DBs are going to have to be cognizant to cover. They're going to have to be able to cover for a little longer because Russell Wilson does hold the ball, right? He is one of the best, or at least he was one of the best in the league at extending plays, right? Getting out of the pocket, using his legs. I think that's going to be probably an emphasis for him this game because he hasn't really used his legs all season long. That Thursday night game, he didn't use his legs really at all. I think he had 2 runs for a total of like 22, 23 yards or something like that. So he did not really use his legs. He stayed in the pocket and it didn't look good. They didn't score a touchdown, and he just was not able to make a difference from the pocket. So I think he comes out and I think he moves his legs here. I think that's really the only chance at this point. If they continue to play as poorly as they have on offense, the only way they can change that is moving the pocket, right? Moving Russell Wilson out to his right, to his left. Kind of getting back to what he was good at in Seattle. Now the DBs are going to have to cover a little longer, right? They're going to have to be able to stay in their assignments just a little longer because Russ will hold the ball. He will hold the ball, and sometimes he makes plays doing that. A lot of times though, it's to the detriment of his own offense. I seen on Thursday night they had I think it was a couple of times, where he held the ball and they got called for illegal man downfield. The linemen were blocking downfield, and that's something that has always happened to Russell Wilson. It happened a lot in Seattle as well too. It's hard to play lineman for a guy who moves around and holds the ball when he's supposed to get rid of it, right? On plays that are defined reads, he just holds it, and it is to the detriment of his offense, but he can move out of the pocket and he can create a big play with that. So the DBs are going to have to be very cognizant of Russell Wilson and the way he plays. Like, right, that's his style. That's just his style. That's what he's good at, and that's what he has had a lot of success with. So the DBs have to make sure that they are covering longer, right? Cover the entire play, and don't give up. Don't give up anything easy. Don't give up anything that is, the backyard football type plays. Those are the things they have to look out for. They have to realize that the Broncos, their offense, the team in general is the most penalized team in the league. The Broncos, they commit the most penalties. They have offensive line issues. Even when the offensive line was healthy, they have issues up front. They have issues with protection up front. Something is not gelling with Russell Wilson and the offensive line. Every time I watch these guys, I'm just like, what do you like? It looks like they haven't practiced, and it looks like they are not on the same page. And at this point in the season, right, it is week 6 now, coming up on week 6. You have to be on the same page now. Like, if you're not on the same page now, then you're going to have issues. And I think that's why the Broncos offense looks the way that it looks. And there's really no excuse for it, right? This is a coaching thing. Hackett is, he obviously is not the best coach in the league. But these little issues that they have should not be happening at this point in the season, right? The season is not brand new anymore, right? We're 6 weeks into it now. You take into account how long training camp is. They should really be with the program now, right? You have been practicing as a team officially since, end of July, right? It's now, kind of the middle of October. It's been about 3 months. So you should be able to be on the same page, right? Quarterback, offensive line, but it doesn't look that way. And I'm not sure what their practice habits are, but something looks off to me. So the Chargers have to make sure that they don't get this right against us, right? They have looked discombobulated in pretty much every single game, and this is a team that you do not want to get right? You don't want them to come and get right in your building. You want them to come and struggle. You want them to come and have the same communication issues. You want them to come into SoFi and make the same mistakes that they were making. It's been a very, very weird season for the Broncos. It looks bad, man. It looks bad, and it looks bad from the standpoint of just more than bad play, right? There has been bad play, but you couple that with a coach who, possibly really honestly doesn't know what he's doing, right? And not just saying that tongue in cheek, but maybe he is in over his head, right? Because that's how it looks on the field. This is odd looking, especially in this passing league, right? And Nathaniel Hackett came from Green Bay. He was there for a couple of seasons with Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur. They had one of the most efficient offenses in the league over the past, 2 or 3 years. It looks odd. So I don't know what exactly is going on, but it just doesn't look right from that perspective. So the Chargers have to make sure, hey, you're not going to get right against us. You're going to continue to struggle against us. We're going to continue to put pressure on you. And, obviously we're going to, really get on you, right? The next thing is the obvious one, right? The Chargers must stop the run. This is the only area I believe that can give the Chargers real problems. I don't believe that Russell Wilson is going to give the Chargers a lot of real problems. The passing offense is just not good. This is, if they're going to get right, it's going to be over a series of 6 to 7 weeks, I believe, right? If they are going to get right at all this season, it's not going to turn overnight. It's not just going to happen in one game. They're going to have to continue to make slow progress, right? But the one thing that they can really do, right, that can gash the Chargers is run the ball. And if they stick with the run, and if they are steadfast with the run, right, they can get yards on the ground, and that can give the Chargers a problem, right? Now, it's been the past 3 weeks that the Chargers have shown that they are still struggling to stop the run on a consistent basis. There have been big runs the past 3 weeks, right? Over 50 yards, the game against the Jaguars, a 70-yard run against the Texans, and I think Nick Chubb had like a 45-yard run just this past Sunday. So the Chargers are struggling with the run game. So if the Broncos are going to be able to have any type of success offensively, I think this is where it's at. The run game is the biggest thing that is going to give the Chargers issues, because the Chargers have shown that they cannot consistently stop it. And, they are prone to giving up big runs. So you have a Melvin Gordon, a Mike Boone. I don't know who else they might have running the ball, but, these guys, if they're able to stay patient and, have a crease here or there, they can break off some big runs, right? Melvin Gordon, we all know who he is as Charger fans, right? He's a former Charger. He is a fumbler of the ball. It's really in his head now. But the one thing that Melvin Gordon has, and he still has it now, is speed. He can run the ball, and he's very, very fast, especially for how big and muscular he is. He's a fast guy. Like, if he gets a lane, he can go all the way. So that is the one thing that I think that the Broncos can give the Chargers a lot of trouble in, is the running game. The Chargers have to sell out to stop the running game again. I don't think that they have to go as hard as they did against, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and the Browns, because that's what the Browns do. That's their specialty, is the run game. But I think they're going to have to pay very close attention to it, because if the Chargers do not stop the run game, you can really bail Russell Wilson out. Because if they get the run game going, then they can potentially get, the play action game going. And that's where Russell Wilson has always been at his best, in the play action, right? When he's able to move out of the pocket, when he's able to get his eyes downfield, right? Go, maybe take shots downfield, go to the intermediates and stuff. They can really give the Chargers trouble if the run game is going. If the run game gets going, then it can be a problematic area for the Chargers. But if they stop the run game, if they're able to stop the run game, you're going to put the entire game, the entire Broncos offense in Russell Wilson's hands. And honestly, just watching him this year through 5 games, that's where I want the ball to be. I want the ball to be in Russell Wilson's hands. I don't want the run game going. I don't want to see 100, 150 yards on the ground, touchdowns. I want this to be in Russell Wilson's hands, especially in the red zone, because that's where the Broncos have been putrid, awful in the red zone. Once they get in the red zone, they can't score. They can't score. They can't move the ball. They can't even run the ball in. So this game needs to be in Russell Wilson's hands, especially in the second half. If the Chargers are able to do what they need to do on the ground, right? And I really don't. Yards to me don't matter really in this situation. If the Broncos have 120 yards rushing, but if they have 30 or 34 carries, that's fine to me. That's honestly fine, because you're not giving up big runs. You're not getting gashed, right? And you are still making Russell Wilson beat you on third down, right? That's only a 3-4 yard per carry average, right? That's not going to kill the Chargers. That's not going to kill them, because you're still going to have plenty of third downs where you're going to be able to generate pressure, right? Be able to try to get the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands. And, you're going to have to make him throw some dimes, right? You're going to have to make him be accurate, which is something that he hasn't been this season. So that doesn't really kill the Chargers, right? The yards is not going to kill the Chargers. It's just about the big runs, the momentum building runs. That's what they need to cut out. And if they're able to do that, I think they're going to be fine. I really do. I think they're going to be fine. Now, the Broncos are again, they are struggling, but this is a desperate team right now. I can tell. I can feel it. I've been watching some of the press conferences over the past week. They're desperate to get something going. And, nothing will get them going like beating a divisional opponent on the road. And that will be, something that can maybe parlay some success for them, right? Going into, the middle part of the season. That can really do something for them. I want the Chargers to avoid that. I want to stay away from that. Keep these guys struggling. Send them to 2-4 and make them really question what they're doing. Make them question all of their processes. That's what I want to see from the Chargers. That's what I think that they are capable of doing. Now, the Denver offense, they are 18th in total offense. So they 19th in passing and 19th in rushing, right? So those rankings. Now, let me preface this by saying this is very early in the season, right? So these rankings, they don't hold too much weight. These rankings are pretty much just based off of, very early season numbers, right? And these rankings are not the end all be all. So, everything is, kind of take it with a grain of salt. But I will say, though, these Denver offensive rankings are pretty accurate. They are accurate in what they represent. The Denver offense is not good. Now, these numbers can go down drastically if the Chargers take care of business on defense, right? All of these numbers will go down probably to the mid-20s, at least, right? If the Chargers do what they're supposed to do on defense, if they take care of the run game, if, they stop whatever Russell Wilson is trying to do, these numbers will go to the mid-20s. Now, defense for the Chargers. Again, all of these rankings, just early season stuff, but these rankings, right, the Denver offensive rankings and the Charger defensive rankings, to me, they are extremely accurate, right, for this point in the season. Right now, these numbers can go up, they can go down, whatever. It's only been 5 weeks. But at this point right now, this is some accurate stuff, right? These numbers really represent what's going on the field for both of these units. Now, the Charger defensive rankings, 23rd in total defense, 20th in passing defense, and 25th in rushing defense. This is accurate for what the Chargers do defensively. And I've said this many, many times. The Chargers don't do anything well right now, really defensively. They're not rushing the passer right now. Joey Bosa's injury obviously has a lot to do with that. As far as the pass defense goes, they're really not doing that at a high clip right now either. The only guy really playing well, in the defensive backfield is Asante Samuel Jr. He's really the only guy playing well right now. aside from that, nobody's really playing well. JC Jackson, I went over that, but he's still not playing well at this point in the season. And then we know what the rushing defense is. The rushing defense is not good. It's obviously towards the bottom of the league again at this point right now. Again, these numbers can go up, they can go down, whatever. It's still early season, but this is extremely accurate based on what's going on. So Denver is looking at this Charger defense like, okay, this is the time to get right, because these guys don't really do anything well on defense. So if we're going to get right, this is probably a time to get right here. And that's probably what their mindset is coming into SoFi on Monday night. Now, the Chargers can change this. They can change this. They have to tighten up this scheme. And I've said this before, they need to tighten up the scheme. There's nothing, that they are doing right now. There's nothing that is stopping the other team. There's no scheme stuff that's slowing down the other team's best options, right? The Browns, what did they do well? They ran the ball. They were able to run the ball on the Chargers. They didn't stop what they do the best, right? I'm not sure what this Denver offense does the best, just because they've been pretty bad on all cylinders. So I'm not looking forward to finding out what they do the best, right? Maybe is it Russell Wilson outside of the pocket? Is that what they do the best? We have no idea. They haven't really done anything well either. So this is going to be a battle between two units that obviously need to improve. Now, I think that the Chargers defensive unit is in a more advantageous position because the Chargers have more talent on defense than the Broncos do on offense. So the Chargers can make more strides than the Denver offense. But this is still going to come down to getting the Broncos off the field on third down, right? Making sure you stop the run and making sure you pressure Russell Wilson and make him feel uncomfortable. If they're not able to do any of those things, then this is really going to be anybody's game. This is still a NFL team, guys. I don't want anybody to think that just because they're playing bad and all of this stuff, they can pull this together for one game to beat the Chargers, right? We've seen it happen before. We've lost to bad teams before. I don't even want to go down that road, right? But we've seen it for many, many years. There's teams who can put together one good, solid week of practice, come out, perform, get an upset victory, and then still go back to being trash after that. So they're looking for upset. They're upset-minded here. But I think the Chargers, they have to understand this team is coming in really with nothing to lose, right? They're coming in with nothing to lose. They have a bunch of injuries. The coaching is not good. Quarterback play has not been good. Offensive play has not been good. Defense has really been keeping these guys afloat. That's the only reason why they even have 2 wins on the season is their defense. So they're going to come in going balls to the wall. They're going to come in ready to play. So I think the Chargers are going to have to really be on their square defensively. They're going to have to focus in, and they're going to have to take something away. Good teams, you're going to have to take something away. You're going to have to stop something that the other team does. You don't have to be the best. It doesn't have to be the 85 Bears defense. But if you're going to have success, right? You're talking about playoff success, long-term success. The Chargers defense, they are going to have to take something away from these offenses. You can't let these guys just do whatever they want and then expect to win. It doesn't work that way. The NFL doesn't work that way. You have to take something away. So I'm looking forward to seeing if the Chargers are able to do that this week. If they're not able to take anything away from this very, very, very pedestrian offense, then there's going to be issues, real issues to speak about defensively, right? Brandon Staley obviously has been under the microscope. If they're not able to stop a very pedestrian Broncos offense, man, the questions are really going to come. And I'm going to be throwing a lot of questions out there too. Is he really the right guy? Because we've heard about all the defensive stuff and, how he might be a guru and all of that stuff. If you can't stop this bad Russell Wilson Broncos offense that is terrible, hey, it's just, it'll be ugly. It'll definitely be an ugly week, but hopefully they can pull it together. I'm hoping that they pull it together. This is a chance, like I said, to get to 4-2. If they're able to get to 4-2, they're going to be right there with the Chiefs, and they're going to be able to, compete for, the first place in the division. But they got to handle business first, and they got to stifle the Broncos. So if they're able to do that, then they'll be fine. And I hope they will. I hope they will have confidence. They will have confidence in the players, and hopefully they can take care of business. But that is all I have for this one, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Really appreciate it. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Appreciate you guys. But that's all I have for today. I will be back tomorrow with more content. Until next time, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you later.